All right, we did it. The cut is over with, and I'm extremely excited. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. The cut is over with. I am extremely excited for that. I'm ready to try and go up in weight. So make sure you guys stay to the end of this video, so I can rate my first ever cut, and I can give you my plans for the beginning and how we're gonna attack the bulk and its challenges. First and foremost, this was the first time I ever cut in my life. I've always been a hard gainer per se, which, you know, a lot of times that means that you're just really not eating enough food and your activity level is too high, which is pretty much where I was at with this process. So I had a little injury in the beginning of this year. Not a little injury, it's actually pretty major. It was in my hip, so I couldn't really move like that. Legs were really tough to do. Upper body was kind of tough to do as well. I just was really running through all the machines every time I went to the gym. I definitely packed on a lot more body fat percentage than I would have liked to, and I had more body fat than I've ever had in my life, I think. But it was good for me to be able to experience going up that high in weight and actually coming down and the things it takes to lose that weight and get rid of it. When it goes from diet, you know, the cardio, all of that stuff was a really good experience for me. Now, some of you may be wondering, why is this the first time ever in life where you've had the cut? What's the point of bulking? What's the point of cutting? So the reason why this is the first time I've ever cut is because I've always had a high activity level, and I've never really been able to kind of stay in that caloric surplus for long periods of time. So obviously when I was hurt, my activity level was a lot lower than it normally is. So I was able to stay in that surplus for a really long time. Now, like I said, that did give me a lot more body fat than I actually wanted. So I did gain a little bit of muscle in the process, but that was the first time I actually gained that amount of weight within a couple month period. So the whole point of why people bulk and why people cut. So the theory of it, or the ideology behind it, is that when you bulk, you know, you're going to gain some body fat and you're going to gain some muscle. So you want to go up and weight for a couple months, staying in that surplus. And then after you hit a certain weight, you want to come down and do a cut and get into a deficit. So the whole point of doing that is, as you're packing on that fat, you're also putting in a little bit of muscle. So you want to come down and basically try and cut as much fat as you can while keeping as much muscle as you can. So in theory, after you go through a bulk and a cut phase, if I'm at 210 pounds at the beginning of my bulk phase, and I go all the way up to 230, and then I come all the way back down to 210 at the end of my cutting phase, I should look bigger and have more muscle than I did at 210 before. So the whole point of basically doing a bulk and cut phase is to look bigger at that lower weight. And then when you come down, you know, you should be able to see a little bit more details and everything else. And hopefully you're losing a lot more body fat percentage, and you're not losing that muscle. Now, what do I prefer? The bulk where I'm on the bigger side, or the cut where I'm on the smaller side? So I've always kind of been on the smaller side, you know, in the 170s and all of that stuff. So I definitely liked being in the 230s. I might not have liked all of the details and the things that came with it, as far as a little bit more body fat percentage, which I've never had that much body fat percentage ever in my life, besides when I was at 230. But I did like the feeling of feeling a lot stronger. I did like the feeling of feeling just constantly full all the time. Whereas, you know, when I was cutting, it was like I was almost always in a deficit. It's like I was doing cardio. I was trying to cut down the carbs. It was like I was just operating at a different level, which definitely made it a little bit harder to make it through some of the workouts, especially chest days where I'm benching, or leg days where it's a lot of activity, lunging and squatting and all of that stuff. So I think both have their pros and cons, but ultimately, you always want to be on the healthier side. So obviously for me, the healthier side is with the lowest body fat percentage. So obviously the cut is better for me than having that body fat percentage in there. But the bulk was fun as far as the strength levels. I did like how I looked, you know, with the tank on, where you couldn't really see the stomach that much. I felt like I was a little bit bigger, but you know, I've been told that the difference really wasn't really that drastic. So that's happy. That's something I am happy about. Obviously, with my slight body dysmorphia, I feel like I'm a lot smaller now, when in reality, I'm probably not. So the biggest challenges that I'm gonna face going into this bulk, if you've watched my social media, my Instagram, if you've seen my shorts, even my full videos, my TikTok, you notice that I am boxing now. So that is going to be a big challenge, trying to stay in a surplus and gain weight and get back into the 220s while boxing. Now, if I'm able to do that, theoretically, I should be gaining a lot of lean muscle, right? Because with all the activity, boxing for almost 6 hours on the weekend, I should be able to just be building muscle slowly. So I'm probably not going to see those really big jumps of 5 and 10 pounds like I would if I had a low activity level and I was just pounding food. Doing all the cardio is not allowing that body fat percentage to really accumulate, even if you're eating a lot of different foods or a high calorie count. So what I need to do is I need to continue to make sure that I'm eating obviously the right amount of protein, but I'm getting more carbs than I was when I was doing the cutting phase. I think I might even take it as far as taking a couple protein bars with me. I do 2 boxing classes back to back, one where we shadow box, work the bag, and then kind of work on stuff with a partner. And then the second hour is pretty much light sparring with somebody. So I think in between classes, I'm going to go take a couple protein bars that'll give me about 40 grams of protein, 400 calories in between class. Maybe that'll help me maintain while I'm doing boxing on the weekend. And then obviously I can stay on my regular diet. But that is going to be the biggest challenge. We're trying to get back to the 220s. And I'm hoping that the 220s will be a lot leaner than it was last time, because I am incorporating a lot more cardio while going up. So it's going to be a slow gain. It's not going to be really quick, but we're definitely going to see if we can do it. I'm going to do some research to see how fighters gain weight, just to see, their calorie count and the things that they do. Maybe it's a couple different foods or things I can do differently or better. Now, the moment you've been waiting for. All right, rating the first ever cut. So I feel like overall my cut was probably about a B. I was going to do a full video at the gym today, but I did injure my rib while boxing. So I'm not able to really flex or show you guys anything to that degree. So I am going to show you guys a couple pictures from when I was in the 230s and then down to the early 220s, low 220s, high 2 teens. You can see that a lot of the body fat percentage drop. You can tell directly in the stomach and the love handles, but like the chest area is still the same. And I think I did a pretty good job of holding a lot of that muscle, but dropping that body fat percentage. You can even see in these videos here, you can kind of see like a little bit more veinier forearms. The muscle pops out a little bit more, with a lot less tension on the muscle or flexing on the muscle as before. So I think overall it was probably a B. Now, the things I would do differently, if I ever cut again, I definitely would do more cardio in the beginning than I did this time. And when I got around that 220, that low 220, high 210 area, I kind of was a little bit afraid to go a little bit lower. Like I didn't have the look that I necessarily wanted. But I was afraid I was going to lose a lot more muscle when I went down, just because I was always hungry. I was always tired and I had never cut before. So I'm like, me having a slight body dysmorphia, thinking I'm going to look like I'm 180 pounds when I'm 210 again, which is just not the reality. So I would probably push myself to get that cardio in a little bit more once I get to that point. And I probably could have ended the cut a lot faster than I actually did. But I started boxing towards the end of the cut, which kind of helped me drop down into the 210, 213 region where I am right now. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe and like button so you can follow my boxing journey, the bulk journey, and any other videos that I post in the future. See you next time.